former X Division champion and number 22 on PWP's Top 25 of 2022, Mike Bailey here, and you are listening to Pro Wrestling Proverbs with Logan and Anthony.
When you think of great tag teams in wrestling in the early 2000s, the obvious three that come to mind are the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudley Boys. AEW, and yeah, I mean, you got me there. But AEW right now has two of those teams complete. The Hardys, of course, were in AEW. Matt Hardy was one of the first big signings under his broken/woken gimmick. And then Jeff came along and helped him, not before dancing down the ramp, of course. Christian came out, we've talked about this before, as the Hall of Famer, which, I mean, at first, people, they kind of poo-pooed on it. But I think Christian is the best signing AEW's had, just with what he's done and this whole anti-dad gimmick. Love it. And now they have Adam Copeland. So they've got the Hardy Boys and the Suicide Blondes, which was Adam Copeland, and which actually was Sexton Hardcastle and Christian Cage's independent tag team name. But the good book here seems to think at one point all three could be there. It's been a while, it's been a while since we've recorded. It's been a while since we've opened this book up. Just a little. So I don't know if you saw, to give it a little background, the Dudleys actually returned to competition.
I saw that. I thought Devon said he was like crippled and stuff. He couldn't do it.
So he did have a stroke. He wasn't supposed to wrestle anymore.
How do I say? I shouldn't say crippled. Because he was hurt. He couldn't.
Yeah. So once he left the producer role for WWE, he started making like independent appearances, a lot of convention appearances. We interviewed him. That was pretty cool. But him and Bubba got back together. Team 3D. They won their match. And now you have to wonder where they're going to pop up next. I mean, I think it's easier for the Dudleys to come back than if the Hardys were to go away and come back, because the Dudleys, I mean, they've got punches, they've got slams. You hit the what's up. He doesn't even have to go to the top rope. Bubba could just hold the guy's legs open. He could drop a head or an elbow into the guy's nuts. Fans will love it. Bring on a table, fans will love it. You don't have to do flips and swanton bombs. As good as the Hardys are, I mean, I think it's a little easier for the Dudley Boys.
Yeah.
But, it's got everyone's minds going, which there's nothing wrong with this. I'll start with that, because I know I'm one too. But you have to admit, Tony Khan is a bit of a mark. He's already got 2/3 of what's regarded as one of the greatest matches, one of the greatest series of matches of all time, those TLC matches in WWE. Why couldn't the Dudleys show up? So, I mean, I think, especially with Ric Flair recently coming aboard, I think anything's possible. But to really begin this, I think you have to go quite a few months in the future. Obviously, right now, Adam Copeland doesn't want to feud with Christian. That's his best friend, man. He just wants what's best for him. He knows Luchasaurus is going to dump him. I think at one point, Christian turns on Luchasaurus. He turns on Lil Nick Wayne. And Adam Copeland joins in. And they're both heels. The first time in a long time that Edge and Christian are heels. Even though they're trying to say this is the first time that they teamed together or worked together in a long time, you have to remember that Edge's last feud against Del Rio, Christian was heavily involved. I think they might have even had a tag match against Del Rio and Brodus Clay. Don't quote me, but it sounds right. But Edge and Christian are heels. They're terrorizing the company. They win the tag titles. They face the Young Bucks. They check all the boxes of what the Hardys were supposed to do before Jeff had his unfortunate DUI.
Hey, no.
As this goes on, Adam and Christian end up losing the tag titles, as they will, because I think both of them realized they need to give back to the younger talent.
Yeah.
After this, I think the next AEW Dynamite, the Hardys come out. They kind of mock them. As Matt Hardy's talking about, Adam and Christian losing their titles. Adam can tell him, it's kind of like when you lost your girlfriend to me. And then Matt can stand up there in the crowd will just be all into it. And then Christian will jump on and be like, or like when you lost your dad, or maybe Jeff, when you lost your license. And they'll have a big kick out of it. Hardys will be pissed. Challenge Adam and Christian to a match. Whatever the next big show is. They have just a normal match. Nothing fancy. Good match, though. These four have a lot of talent between them. You're not seeing as many flips. You're not seeing as many, high-octane moves. Kind of a last hurrah. After this showing, the following Dynamite happens, and they go in the ring, and like the first time that they really had a barn burner, the four of them are in the ring, and they congratulate each other. They thank each other. You guys were not only involved in our tag team careers, but in our singles careers. They kind of parallel each other. I mean, Jeff Hardy went to Impact, Christian went to Impact, that kind of thing. Christian was on WWE ECW, Matt Hardy was on WWE ECW. Edge and Jeff Hardy's roles, they went to the secondary and then the heavyweight. They've always married each other in some way. And then as they're hugging, lights drop. You have, Shivani. What the hell is going on? This is a great moment between four people. What's going on? Jim Ross is sitting there, talking about how he hired him. Sassafras, barbecue sauce. What happened to the lights, Tony? Did you not pay the electric bill? Lights come on, and in one corner is Bubba Ray / Bully Ray, and in the other corner is Devon, and they both have kendo sticks, and they just start beating these four men down. Jeff Hardy rolls out of the ring. Adam Copeland rolls out of the ring. They hit a 3D on Christian. They hit a 3D on Matt Hardy. And Bully grabs the mic. And like they did in their last WWE run, he asked not only those superstars, but the fans, do you know who we are? And then Devon grabs the mic and says, we're the damn Dudleys. Oh, my brother, testify. Announcers are livid. The fans are booing. We don't get any answers until the following week. An interview's happening in the ring. Talking to the Dudley. Why now? Why come back and jump these? I thought you had respect for these men. You guys shared the stage at the WWE Hall of Fame. And then that's Bully starts talking about how everyone always seems to give Edge and Christian their roses, their flowers. Everyone always seems to give the Hardys their flowers. But the Dudleys did what they were supposed to do. They fought teams and they put over younger talent, but they never got any respect for it. They got booed out of the building. Oh, they should be winning tag titles. They should be putting people through tables. Sorry that they're doing what Taker wanted. Sorry that they're doing what Austin wanted. And they're not out there gallivanting like Hogan and Flair and trying to just one-up the younger talent. They're sick of it. So if the fans want to boo them and their fellow performers want to boo them, that's fine. But the Dudleys are going on a different type of retirement tour. They're not the ones retiring. They're going to be retiring. Adam, Christian, Jeff, Matt, we're coming for you. Following weeks, whether they're in singles competition or tag team competition, the Dudleys just keep attacking the four of them. And then finally, that's the four of them say, "What do you want? What are you looking for in this? We don't have any gold. We're just trying to, right off in the sunset here in AEW, and you just keep attacking us. Devon grabs the mic as he's at the top of the ramp and says, "We want part 3." Everyone looks confused, and then Jim Ross, "Oh, he's not talking about what I think he's talking about, is he?" And then that's when Bubba goes, "We want the Full Metal Mayhem 3 here in AEW," because I don't think they can use the TLC name, and that's what Impact called it. But I could be wrong. The last time that this happened, we were missing Edge and Christian. It was Full Metal Mayhem and TNA, but it was the Dudleys, the Hardys, and the American Wolves. The American Wolves are good substitutions, don't get me wrong, but they're no Adam and Christian. Then we skip to the next week on Dynamite, and the Hardys and Edge and Christian are in the ring together, and they're talking about how actually it's Christian on the mic, and he goes, "It's funny, the Dudleys want this match, and they know that Edge and Christian's going to win. They know that Adam or Copeland and Cage is going to win." Matt grabs the mic and asks him, "What is he talking about?" The Hardys are the kings of the ladder match. Adam grabs the mic and goes, "Listen, yeah, the ladder match, this is chairs, ladders, and tables. You're outmatched. You guys haven't won a match since you left the WWE. I was main eventing the big show over there. Christian here was running with the TNT title, and what were you guys doing? Nothing. You were dancing with a private party? I don't even know who those guys are." This gets Jeff fired up. He goes, "You have to remember, I beat you for titles." And again, Christian grabs and goes, "Yeah, you have to remember, that's when you weren't behind bars." This gets the Hardys enraged, and the Hardys and Edge and Christian start fighting. The Dudleys appear at the top of the ramp, arms folded and laughing. Devon grabs a mic and says, "We haven't even had to do anything, and look, you guys are fighting." Bubba laughs and says, "We will see you at that Full Metal Mayhem." Once the show happens, I in my mind, with as much as, Tony Khan loves classic wrestling, and he kind of wants to stick it to WWE just a little bit, I think there's a chance this would be the main event. As I said, the previous 2 times that this happened, it's regarded as, I would say, probably top 10 match of all time, both showings. So for Tony Khan to be able to replicate this, he'd be foaming at the mouth. Copeland and Cage come out. The first one's out there. Little nod to the previous selves. They come out with kazoos in tow. Instead of throwing them to the fans, they just break them and throw them on the ground. Hardy Boys out next. What could possibly be their last big hurrah. Both Matt and Jeff are ready. And finally, the Dudley Boys in their first AEW match. They had not wrestled up to this point. They just kept interfering. The Dudleys are looking to dominate one more promotion before it's said and done. And I even though these men are many years older, this is 20 plus years after those TLC matches. I think that because you've got Adam Copeland, you've got Christian Cage. For those that haven't seen what Bubba Ray / Bully Ray has been doing in TNA has been phenomenal. I think with those 3 alone, they could carry the match. I think for something like this, Matt Hardy would be capable, he'd be able, he'd be willing to put it all on the line. And at the top, wouldn't be a championship. It would be a contract for a number 1 contendership or a tag team title. Now, I believe that the Dudley Boys would end up winning this, And the reason I think this would happen is if you remember during the last run, even though the count is off, they were touted as 24-time tag team champions.
Yeah.
So I think they win the contract, and then it's announced that on the next Dynamite, the Dudleys are facing the tag team champions of AEW, the Young Bucks, a team that they used to bully in TNA. Well, after winning the contract, being in the match, the Dudleys look spent while fighting the Young Bucks. They just had this monstrous TLC Full Metal Mayhem war. But the other two teams are upset that they lost. So as there's fighting happening, they run out. And this distraction doesn't get the best of the Dudleys. No, because of the years they've put in. The Young Bucks are confused. And what are you doing down here? We have this match in tow. And that's Devon spins the one around, picks him up, Bully Ray drops him for a 1, 2, 3 on screen. This is the Dudleys' 25th Tag Team Championship. If I remember, I believe this would be 27 or 28. I know that it's been skewed based on promotions and when they won it, but still this would be the 25. Big celebration. Again, the following Dynamite, they come out. Taz is in the ring with them. Spike Dudley's there. Tommy Dreamer's out there with them, and they're celebrating. Until Copeland, Cage, and the Hardys come out again. And Copeland grabs the mic and tells them, listen, before we were just fighting for the contendership, we screwed the Bucks out of it, but now we're going to make things right, and we want to beat you for those tag team titles. Jeff Hardy grabs the mic, goes, I agree with everything you said, except we will be beating them. The Dudleys laugh in the ring. We've already beaten you in a Full Metal Mayhem match. What else is there for us to do? Then Matt Hardy grabs the mic. He looks at everyone. When I was debuting in AEW, we did a stadium stampede. Team versus team. This time, though, it's going to be team versus team versus team for the AEW Tag Team Championship. The Dudleys are shaking their boots. No one would ever agree to that. Stadium stampede. Look what happened to you, Matt. Your head almost completely exploded when it hit the concrete. Do you think you or your brother can handle that? And Copeland, what if your neck takes a wrong move, huh? How's Beth gonna feel pushing you around in a wheelchair? Then Tony Khan appears on the screen, and he agrees with what Matt said, and it's booked. A stadium stampede for the first time. Tag team versus tag team versus tag team. Dudleys, Copeland and Cage, Hardy Boys. This match, I think, would have a little more bells and whistles than the Full Metal Mayhem. I would have an appearance by Spike. I think, if possible, I'd have Lita appear, hit one of the Dudleys with a twist of fate. I wouldn't have her be involved with Edge and Christian or the Hardys, just because, you know, it's a little iffy. Never twist of fate a Dudley boy. I think you could do a lot with this. But I think if you end the Dudleys' one and only reign in AEW, you've got to have Copeland and Cage win the titles. I think the Hardys at this point, if I'm Tony Khan, I don't trust in them since the last time they're supposed to win the titles. Jeff had his mishap, as I said. And I think Copeland and Cage have the most in the tank, which is funny to say because at one point the Dudleys and Hardys were fighting all over the world. while Edge and Christian both are retired. But the way that I see the match ending, and I've thought about this, I see both Dudleys on tables. Jeff Hardy up at a high point, gonna hit him with a swanton bomb. Matt Hardy holding the Dudleys down. Matt Hardy then pans a little bit, and he gets speared by Edge. Jeff Hardy looks down confused, and Christian throws him from the top, through the tables, onto the Dudley boys. While Edge and Christian each put a foot on someone, Edge on Jeff, Christian on Devon, and their hands up as the ref counts a 1, 2, 3 for them to win their championships. And I think at this point, you don't have the Dudleys come out like they did in WWE and announce their retirement. I think the way they did that there was wrong. I think being one of the most the teams with the best accolades and being recognized as one of the top tag teams of all time, you don't need to come out and do a retirement spiel. I think at this point, the Dudleys ride off into the sunset, being one of the last ECW characters, and being able to finally ride off together as, like we said before, Devon was supposed to be retired. I think this puts a nice little stamp on it. They go to one more promotion, they win one more title. This makes them former WWF, WWE, ENA, NWA, WCW, ECW, New Japan, and AEW Tag Team Champions. And then it puts it's an exclamation point on not only their careers, but these 6 men get to enjoy one last ride together. And like I said, I think Tony Khan gets to drive that knife a little bit into WWE's heart.
Yeah, especially since I feel like that's something they could have done.
Yeah.
But obviously, stars never aligned, or when they did have everybody there, just never really worked out.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, Edge, the Hardys and Edge and Christian were there together at one point, but the Dudleys weren't.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have been the golden time to do it. I'm never quite sure why the Dudleys didn't go back to WWE. I know they left in 2004 because they didn't have any more opponents. They didn't have anything else to do. But by the time Christian came back, both Hardys were there. Pretty sure this was 2012. Let me see.
And Christian came back?
Oh, 2009. So it was like from 2009 to 2011, because that's about the time Edge retired. But you would have had that little leeway to do it. And like I said, in TNA, the Hardys and Dudleys fought, but they used the American Wolves. At that point, Edge was retired, and Christian either was retired or going to be retired, so it didn't align there. I just think that out of all the nostalgia pops that keep happening in AEW and the rumors of a Sting Ric Flair match, I think a Dudley's reunion and facing only Edge and Christian and the Hardys, no other teams except to win that tag title. That's the kind of nostalgia pop that wrestling is needing, and it would make people.
It's something that's in the realm of possibility of Tony Khan to do, and
yeah,
you did it a lot better than he probably would. I don't want to give him too much credit, because if Tony Khan was booking it, it'd be like on a random collision with like 4 days notice. Like he'd announce it on Dynamite. Like this Saturday on Dynamite, TLC 3. At least you put it into a story.
And it's one of those things that it'd make people from mine and your generation a little depressed because, like I said, it was over 20 years ago that the second TLC match happened. So, lot to think about. And again, I think this would be perfect because it would finally give the Hardy Boys some purpose in AEW. It would be a way for Edge and Christian to re-team and be their heel selves, and it would introduce the Dudleys in an organic way that wouldn't just be, hey, I have a special announcement from Dudleyville. Dudleys are here.
Maybe.
Taz, you remember the Dudleys? They're your friends. Rob Van Dam, remember the Dudleys are your friends. But yeah, no, this is just something, like you said, it's definitely in the realm of possibility. I would love to see it. But since it's something that I want to see, this will probably be the one thing that doesn't happen. But like I said, the biggest thing I would do is I would keep... it worries me whenever a wrestler has a big injury and then they come back and do something, or a big health scare. So for Devon to have a stroke and then come back into the ring, it's possible, but I don't want to see him do full time. I don't want to see him work with every tag team. But I also think that the only way I can think to word it is, I know in the eyes of some fans, the Hardys have to like earn their respect back, climb back into their good graces. They always have to do it when they fuck up at one point. I don't think the Dudleys necessarily have to do that. They've never done anything wrong, and I think they go away and come back at the right times. You never hear people like, if the Dudleys appear, people aren't like, oh, Dudley boys. They're always intrigued with what they're doing. So, I guess I don't think they need to work every Dynamite, every Collision. I don't think they need to do singles matches. Keep them as the Dudleys. Let them win that last tag title. Let them really be the most decorated team in history. And then let them ride off into the sunset.
Yeah. But it's not going to be that easy.
It's never that easy.
No.
But one thing that is easy?
There's so many things I could say right here. I don't know. Tell me, what's easy?
One thing that's easy to do is that thou shall never fuck with the Dudley boys.
Amen.
Testify.